Hey guys, welcome back. I'm going to continue my tutorial for the Arkham Knight Glitchless category. So we just investigated this Oracle crash. Now we need to go to Wayne Tower. So Wayne Tower, if you don't know where it is, so right now we are basically behind the hospital, right here. And then we're going to go to Wayne Tower, which is over here. So as I mentioned before, usually you want to drive places, but the issue with driving right now on Miagani Island is that there are about like 40 tanks that we can get into battles with. So in order to just avoid that, I just glide to Wayne Tower. So to glide to Wayne Tower is in the background right there. You can kind of see it behind some of these buildings, but it'll be more obvious when you get closer. So yeah, there's this hotel here, and it's behind this hotel. So let's grapple cancel off this hotel, then grapple boost here, then grapple boost here, grapple boost here, and then grapple boost here. And so here you notice that you don't actually need the objective selected in order to trigger this part. If you don't know where it is, you can obviously select the objective, but you don't need to select it. In fact, you don't need to select any additional objectives. So we open this.
Nice of you to drop in.
So we go to this computer. It takes a while before we can skip this scene.
Good evening, Mr. Wayne.
So now, after we do this, we get to get our first tank upgrade. So we have a choice between the Weapons Generator 3 and CPU Virus. So you can get either of them, it's up to you. At this point, I get the Weapons Generator 3.
An upgrade to your
excellent
choice.
You don't need the CPU Virus yet, so I don't really get it. So now we have a marker over there, so we're going to head there. To move there, I like to just fall a little bit. Falling is faster than dive bombing, so if you're going to go down anyway, it's better to just fall. Then do some grapple cancels. And what I do is I go to this alley near the Vicky Vale show. It's called the Batmobile. That avoids any unnecessary tank battles. So then we do this tank battle. Oops, I got hit. Now this tank battle is interesting. Because you can aggravate tanks that aren't necessarily supposed to be part of this fight. So you see that there are I guess there are like 50 tanks. After this battle, you'll get between. Ideally, you'll have 31 tanks. Usually, that's kind of the lowest I've ever had. So usually it's going to get to like 34 or 31, but it can definitely go lower too. I've had it go as low as 25. So that means that like 25 tanks join the battle, which is usually a lot. It depends on how many, if you aggravate other tanks. So you can see I have now 2 tanks remaining. There are also 3 tanks coming up in a line, so I want to avoid aggravating them. If you look at the radar. So you see that, so there are these 3 tanks here. If you aggravate them, you have to fight them as part of this fight as well. So you want to avoid doing that as much as possible. So if you stay in the general area that I stayed at, you'll generally avoid having too many tanks come at you. So now we can pull down this fan. So we then launch out. We're gonna have to talk to Robin. Then you jump through here. If you jump through at a certain way, you can actually jump through both of them. So now this one, you can slide kick through this. Select the remote control battering. Immediately when you get out, throw it at this. You can press spacebar to cancel the remote battering so that it like ends a little earlier. Then you line launch here. Switch to the remote control battering again. There's a way of doing this where you have the remote control battering go like underneath this gate, and then you can hit this, but that's very difficult. It's much easier to just throw it here. So I'd recommend just doing that. Line launch. So now we're in the Miagani Tunnel. So you can grapple here, and then normally you would grapple like over there, but you can actually walk a little bit to the left, and you can actually grapple to this area directly. And when you grapple there, then...
Not your best day at the
So now
office,
we actually have enough upgrade points for our next upgrade. So what I do is, right when I exit, I go and buy the multi-ground takedown upgrade. So basically you go to combat, and so you see the fists here, it's upper left of the fists. So it requires 4 points, we have 4 points, so we'll get that. This is an extremely useful upgrade for hard and easy, for all difficulties, but especially on hard, this is a really, really good upgrade to have. Yeah, so now we encounter Arkham Knight, who wrecks us. So this upcoming fight, I'm going to do on both easy and hard. So first I'm going to do it on hard. Afterwards I'll do it on easy. Because there's some interesting things about this fight. So one is that normally it takes several hits to take down an enemy on hard, but in this fight, the regular enemies go down in 2 hits, and for the first 2 waves of this fight, the enemies go down easier than they would normally, and on easy they go down in 1 hit. So I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so first you counter this guy, then jump backwards, stand under this lamp, and then back claw this guy towards you, and then take him down with that. Okay, so now we'll have a ninja come in. So because it's a ninja, I like to counter him. Oh, whoops. So yeah, these guys get knocked out a lot. And yeah, this is the multi-ground takedown. So the combo takedowns at this point, you do them on so these last wave of guys, they go down like normal enemies. So then you gotta jump away. So now I'm gonna show you kind of what that fight looks like again on easy. Because on easy, you'll see that the enemies go down very, very easily. So again, let's change our difficulty to easy. Yeah, we do the same thing. Start out, you don't need to. You could beat him down on easy, but it's a little faster to do this.
Batman's gone. I've lost him.
So see, so ninjas take 2 hits. The other guys take 1 hit. Whoops. Yeah, and so avoid going out there. Yeah, so that's basically at the start of the fight, the enemies go down in one hit. That's sort of what I really wanted to point out. And on hard, they go down in 2 hits. Only for the first 2 phases of it. And the third wave of enemies do not go down. They go down normally. So that's interesting. Anyways, so now this tank comes in. You open this door.
That guy doesn't know you very well now, does he? I think you're trapped down here. What kind of supervillain thinks a bullet to the stomach and a handful of tanks?
So yeah, you shoot this tank, shoot this tank, this tank, this tank. Then you walk out. Sometimes, if you shoot the tank, there might be some debris that prevents you from walking out. In this case, there isn't, but there sometimes could be. So like you might get stuck here. If that happens, remote control the car, and then go next to Batman, and then Batman will get in the car. So it's not a soft lock, you can get around it. So now we open this. So now we chase our first, or in this category, our only APC. Ideally, you would not destroy any of these cars. They do get in the way, and in order to get them out of the way, I do shoot them once. If you actually destroy them, it slows things down. Yeah, so you generally want to try to avoid that. Definitely on easy, but on hard, it's not. I just blow them up. It's a little less risky. So, yeah, then you also want to try to actually hit the APC, because that does a lot of damage. It makes it a lot faster. Okay. So also, one other thing to point out is that the APC might drive like along the water, and it is possible to destroy the APC so that it falls into the water, which basically means you have to restart the race. So be careful with that and don't do that.
But he'll know where I can find him.
So now we interrogate this guy. This is kind of a fun interrogation, but you do it because you do it quickly. It's a little bit less fun.
To be chasing the wrong man.
So this part is entirely unskippable.
Where is the Arkham Knight?
You won't find him.
It's a little long, so.
You think I didn't know you were tracking my broadcast location? Here's a lesson, Batman. I know how you think, which means I know how to beat you.
Where is he?
With Barbara Gordon. She's ours now. Can you imagine what the Knight's going to do to her? What are you doing? No! You can't do this!
So for this, you only need to like push forward for a little bit. Now the dialogue the screaming or dialogue, he can do long screams or short screams. Which one he does is random. So you could lose a little bit of time to that. It's not too big a deal, but it is a thing. Particularly the second one. So you do this again. So this is middle length dialogue. There's like shorter dialogues and longer dialogues. I think I could have or screams.
What's it called?
North Refrigeration.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we interrogate him, knock him out. We'll go back to our car and pick up our first tank upgrade, which is the weapons generator, because that's the one I picked. So follow the arrows. it's the easiest way to get there. Try to avoid any tanks if you see them on your radar, because you'll have to fight them. So now we're gonna drive through here. Now there's a tank fight after we get this upgrade. We're gonna skip it. We can just exit our Batmobile. And when we exit it, we can just grapple over to basically anywhere we want. But where we actually want to go is to the Ranelagh Ferry Terminal, which is right here. So I'll just set a marker to there. You'll know where it is, like eventually.
I'm coming for you.
The Ranelagh Ferry Terminal is basically where we're going to meet Nightwing after we sort of talk to Alfred a bit. So now one thing that's interesting is so now we're going to talk to Alfred and spawn the APC missions. But one thing that's interesting is that all of these tanks that we were supposed to fight are actually still here. So you see that over there, they're tanks there. So that's going to cause problems for us down the line. Oh, and also triggering Manbat. So generally, you want to avoid triggering Manbat, and you avoid it by never grapple boosting onto a roof. But yeah, it can happen. You might forget, like I just did. Do that. So this is where we meet Nightwing. Because we have a thing set, I think we have to select this. Normally you don't have to. So now we get our disruptor.
Arkham Knight.
Indeed, sir. Master Grayson confirmed he'll meet you on the...
I can disable enemy weapons using the disruptor's sabotage ammo. I've only got 3 shots. I should
with the
pick my
disruptor,
targets wisely. That disabled the firearm. If I use the disruptor again, it will explode when fired, knocking out the user and flooring anyone nearby.
The guy who killed my brother.
So now we've sabotaged, and the important thing is we got an autosave. So now, as you recall, there are all these tanks over here. But if we reload from checkpoint, so then we'll see that all of the tanks are gone now. So if we skip that fight, you'll want to reload from checkpoint down the line at some point. That place where I reloaded is an okay place. There's actually a better place, I think, in my opinion, to reload from. That you can reload from as well. But we reloaded. I'll show you where I reload next. So now on hard, you can throw a smoke pellet here, and so then you do a fear takedown. On easy, it's like completely unnecessary to do that. But on hard, it's actually kind of nice. So now we have to track this penguin truck.
Let's see. A truck full of weapons and explosives. I can use the disruptor's tracker ammo to tag the vehicle and follow it across Gotham.
So track it. So
now I just need to give them
what's going to happen is this truck is going to go this way, and then it's going to go, it either goes this way, or I think it goes this way, and then it goes down here through this Grand Avenue area, and then it gets to about here, and then it'll turn around and then go to the Penguin Cache. And the Penguin Cache is right next to the Mercy Bridge. So you knock on this door, and so what I do is I basically wait along the Grand Avenue intersection area.
Subtlety works.
So grapple up here, grapple up
Stick
here.
to the rooftops, I'll be able to follow them right back.
So that's where the car is. Now, so go to this building with that Halloween
vehicle
sign on
tracker
it.
will remain
Also, like
locked,
where it's in
even
front
for
of Grand
buildings,
Avenue Station.
as long as I keep the
So the
target in
car's
view
right there.
and within range.
It's going to turn right. Yeah, so it's right there. Then it's going to go. So we're here. We can then grapple up here, and it's going to continue going along this road towards that way. So I like to just stand here. This gives this you have a good enough way of keeping track of it, of keeping him in view, so that you don't lose the truck. So one thing I'm gonna show you is there's a way to skip the penguin predator, but it's really risky to do that on hard. So now we said we lost him, so we fly to the hideout. So the hideout is right by the bridge. So you head towards this parking, and you see that there's like a sentry gun there. So, what we can do is that there are people here. There's a predator here. We can actually skip it, but it's a very precise glide, like that. It's extremely difficult. It's very difficult to do, and it's extremely risky to do it on hard, because one of the guys has a shotgun, and he can one-shot you, even while you're climbing down the ladder. So on hard, I don't recommend doing that, although you absolutely can. So I'm gonna have to do this penguin truck again. And show you kind of how I do this predator on hard.
No! It's Batman! Get the hell out of here!
Subtlety works.
Doing it on easy is perfectly fine, because even if you mess it up, you'll get shot, but the gunshots don't really do anything, so
The vehicle tracker
it's
will
way
remain
less
locked,
risky
even
on
for
easy,
buildings.
and normal
As long as I
it
keep
actually
the
is pretty
target in
risky
view and within
if you mess
range.
up. So even on normal, I don't do that. I don't run normal very often, but I generally only do that skip on easy. So again, I grapple up to here. So this sign is the Sartorico sign. Yeah, so just wait for this guy. Wait for him to say we lost him. Well, not this part, but when they say so there's this dialogue, then they're gonna have a couple of random dialogues. Like this next one's gonna be random. So either how can we got, yeah, he's gonna get us, or it could be how come we got stuck with the bat. So when I say we lost him, that means we can go to the predator. So on hard, the way I do this predator is I go to here, do a loud takedown. Make sure that you establish visual contact before going back here. So take this guy down, and basically when they are climbing the ladders, you can batarang them and knock them out. They might get knocked down and not out, but then just do it again.
Anyone follow you?
Batman tried, but we scared him off.
Yeah, right. Get your ass in there. The boss wants to talk. He said don't be
So
late.
this is the easiest way of doing it, of doing this predator.
Over here! Get away!
So after you do this,
The roof is heavily protected.
there
This must
you
be
kind
the way
I
inside.
like to go over the edge of this, because there's a sentry gun here on the right that you can that can destroy you, and then there's a sentry gun back here that can also hurt you. So I like to go from the top and over to here. So then we can now take down Penguin.
What do we do about the bat?
Batman! Don't worry.
So this fight in particular is where the multi-gun takedown upgrade will become really useful.
The Arkham
Even
Knight,
on easy.
Barbara Gordon.
On
Tell me
hard
where they
it's
So that's
useful on on easy it's useful, on hard it's way more useful. So yeah, make sure you counter these guys that come at you, just because there's no point in taking more damage than you need to, and also it's faster.
Simon Stagg. I think he runs a pharmaceutical company or something.
Especially on hard, if you take more damage than you need to, it's
lie to me.
makes things harder down the line.
I'm not. I swear. They said he's about to leave Gotham. Those airships over the West River, it belonged to him. Put him down. We'll shoot. Won't do you any good. Scarecrow's gonna break you.
So yeah,
You
now
are
the
going
Penguin escapes,
down, Batman.
then
Steady, fellas.
we're about to get beaten by this guy, but then Nightwing comes in and saves
Knock his
us.
head right out of the...
This is you handling it, right? Don't worry. You can thank me later.
Kill him.
So you get combo of 3 automatically. Then I like to backpaw to slam this guy, because that, and then, okay, so I got unlucky there. Generally you want to combo take down this big guy, and you actually combo take down him in the first move. So this is kind of important. So the way to do these fights is to basically batarang them, and then when you batarang them, well, I just got hit, but yeah. So if you batarang them and then punch another guy, basically that you knock down 3 people with the batarang, and then if you knock down a 4th guy and then do the multi-ground takedown, then you take out basically 4 guys in a span of like 1 second. So that's why multi-ground takedown is useful, and that's kind of how you make use of it. You can also do batarang, hit, batarang, and then multi-ground, or you can do batarang, hit if you're fast enough, and basically that takes out 8 guys. So batarang, hit, batarang, multi-ground takes out 3 guys, batarang, hit takes out 4 guys, batarang, hit, batarang can take out 7 guys, and then you might be able to squeeze in an 8th guy with that.
Bruce, you need to let me help.
Okay, so now we destroy this cache. Because this is glitchless, there's nothing special here, except you can do that. If you do that, just jump out of it.
Seriously? Do you believe that accent?
So now we close
Puts it on to
this.
sound scary. Please, what are you
Fortunately,
doing?
Even though you lock Joker in here, he still gets out.
Don't lock me in here. I'll do anything. Want the laundry done? I'll do it. Help out, Alfred. You got
So
it.
then I'd like to jump backwards here, detonate, and go up here.
Alfred, find out everything
climb
you
this
can about
ladder.
Simon Stagg.
So you climb this ladder, you get ambushed by these guys. You have to grapple out, so I just spam grapple right now.
Oh, you wait there.
After you spam grapple, you need to select the Batmobile.
Sort out these chumps.
So one thing is you can't actually spam the Batmobile button.
Take out the militia.
I push it at basically once a second. As a spamming it, if you spam it, you don't actually select the Batmobile, which is kind of weird. So you go up this parking structure.
You're the sniper. I'm more of a close-range fighter. Since when? Since now. So what? Just wait and see what happens.
Come here, and then we shoot these guys. Okay, so now what's interesting is we're going to exit this, and what's going to happen is there's going to be a cutscene with Alfred that's going to, and it's going to then zoom into Stagg, and when it zooms into Stagg, we get a nice autosave, and the camera doesn't fix for like a few seconds. So what I actually like to do is I actually like to reload right when I get that autosave, in order to sort of use the time that I would spend waiting for the camera to fix itself to just reload. And this is also the way to despawn the tanks for that tank fight that we skipped, instead of reloading at the penguin truck that we did before. So we go out here. We're going to talk to Alfred. and then it's going to zoom into stag, and then we get that autosave, so I like to restart here. And so you need to restart at some point, otherwise you get, otherwise you can lose a lot of time down the line. So anyways, I think this is a good place to stop the video. I will see you in the next video. Thanks.